To my channel. Last time we talked about the Elizabethan age, and today we are continuing our journey through history with the Jacobean age. If you have not already watched the previous videos in this series, like I keep on saying, please do to have a better understanding of this age, plus it's going to help you for the exams as well, right? Also, for your convenience, I have made a separate playlist for the history of British literature. Make sure you see that as well. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, a few things. After the death of Elizabeth I in 1603, James I ascended the English throne. But you must be wondering that from where has this man come? Given that Elizabeth was not married, she did not have an heir. So obviously your confusion is valid, and to solve this we need to time travel back in the past when Henry VII was the king. Okay, we need to delve into the historical lineage. Now King Henry VII, who ruled in the late 15th century, he had 7 children, but you need to remember 2 here: King Henry VIII and Margaret Tudor. Henry VIII's daughter was Queen Elizabeth. When Henry VIII died, Elizabeth became the queen. However, Elizabeth, known as the Virgin Queen, she had no heirs. On the other hand, Margaret Tudor, the sister of Henry VIII, she married James IV of Scotland, and they had a son called James V of Scotland. James V had a daughter named Mary, Queen of Scots. Now, Mary was a rival to Elizabeth, and in fact, she also had plotted against Elizabeth, which is why we find that Mary was eventually executed. Mary's son, James VI of Scotland, after Elizabeth's death in 1603, became the closest relative with a legitimate claim to the English throne. Thus, upon Elizabeth's death, he ascended to the English throne as James I, uniting the crowns of Scotland and England and initiating the Jacobean age. Now, why the name Jacobean? Given that he is called James, because Jacobus is Latin for James. Okay, that's why the name Jacobean. Now, one major significant event of this period is what we know as the Gunpowder Plot. So what happened was that there was this group of English Catholics who were opposed to King James I, who was a Protestant. Now this group of English Catholics, they planned to blow up the English Parliament and kill the king on November the 5th, the opening day of the Parliament. What they did was that they placed gunpowder in the vault of the Westminster Abbey with the intention of igniting it. However, one conspirator, kind of sent an anonymous letter warning the king of the plot. So James I, acting on this tip, had the basement searched, and the search revealed the gunpowder and led to the capture of Guy Fawkes, who was one of the plot's leaders, okay, who was found with matchsticks in his hand. Fawkes was executed in obviously, and the king declared November 5th a day of celebration with bonfires and fireworks to mark the day when the nation was saved from this plot. Okay, since that day, it has become a tradition in England where on this day, that is November the 5th, children create life-size paper dolls of a man and they burn them in the evening, accompanied by fireworks. Now that we have covered some historical context, let's turn to the significant literary works and writers of the Jacobean period. Let's start with poetry first, since this is the time when we have the exquisite poems of none other than John Donne. I mean, have you read this man's poetry? If you haven't, take this video as a sign and read them. And if you have already, what were your thoughts about it? Which one did you like the most? I would love to hear about this from you guys. Do let me know in the comments below, okay? Now, Donne is classified as one of the metaphysical poets. In fact, this is the period when the metaphysical poets like Donne, Andrew Marvell and George Herbert were writing. Their works are something that readers even till date admire. I mean, Marvell's To His Coy Mistress is another gem from this period, Its opening lines are one of my all-time favorites. Had we but whirled enough in time, this coyness lady were no crime. Do read it, alright, if you haven't already, because even for the exams, this is a very important poem. Now let's briefly talk about metaphysical poetry. First of all, the term metaphysical. Who was the one who coined it? This is very important, and listen very carefully to what I'm about to say, okay, since many students end up getting confused. Dryden was the one who first coined the term metaphysics, but then it was Samuel Johnson who later grouped these poets together and named them metaphysical poets in his book Lives of the Most Eminent English Poets. So remember, Dryden coined the term metaphysics and Johnson categorized the poets as metaphysical poets. In case, let's say there's a question on this, please read the question very carefully and understand what it's asking and answer accordingly, right? Now, metaphysical poetry often explores the themes of religion, love, romance, and the philosophical concept of carpe diem, meaning seize the day. I was in my BA when our teacher first introduced this term to us, and I've loved it since then. Isn't it a beautiful term? Carpe diem, seize the day. It's like that old classic Bollywood song, आने वाला पल जाने वाला है, हो सके तो इसमें जिंदगी बिता दो, पल जो ये जाने वाला है. Here also the meaning is the same, right? Seize the day. All you have is today, so seize it. Why waste it? That's what you will find in the metaphysical poetry as well. These poets encouraged making the most of the present moment. Remember, I quoted the opening lines of Marvel's to his coy mistress. That's exactly what he's talking about there as well. Had we but whirled enough in time, this coyness lady were no crime, okay? Apart from this, the metaphysical poets made significant contributions to literary techniques by employing puns, paradoxes, and elaborate metaphors known as conceits. The metaphysical poetry, in fact, is known for its conceits, okay? See, this again is a very, very important topic that merits separate discussion, which is not going to be possible here in this video. So if you really want to delve deeper into this age, because again, there is so much in this age that is important, which I cannot cover here due to time constraints. That is why you can join my online course where I take up everything in detail, explaining each point, each important work of each writer in great detail. Keeping in mind the exams like UGC NET, SET, CUET, GATE, etc. Just visit my website theankitajain.com for more details, or call me on the number showing on the screen. So now let's discuss about the Jacobean drama. Okay, Jacobean era introduced distinct themes and styles in drama compared to the Elizabethan period. While Elizabethan drama, it often focused on aristocracy and royalty, such as you get to see in plays like Antony and Cleopatra, Hamlet, Othello. Jacobean drama, on the other hand, explored darker themes like adultery, corruption, lust, anger, and greed. Two crucial types of plays emerged during this period: revenge tragedies and city comedies. Now, revenge tragedies, exemplified by the works of Thomas Middleton, they often revolved around characters seeking vengeance. Notable examples would include The Duchess of Malfi and The White Devil, both written by John Webster. Both are highly important works. In fact, if you have seen my previous video on the most important British playwrights, you will know that I specifically mentioned Webster and these two plays. So one type of play was the revenge tragedy, right? Second is the city comedies, which depicted the everyday life and social issues. In fact, if you look at many of the works of Ben Jonson's, they are city comedies. For example, his Alchemist or Volpone or Every Man in His Humour. Another popular dramatic form in the Jacobean period was the masque, which were these elaborate performances staged for the aristocracy and royal court. Inigo Jones was an influential English architect and designer who is credited with popularizing the masque during this period in England. Now, like I said, masques were these elaborate courtly performances combining music, dance, poetry, and extravagant stage design. Inigo Jones's collaboration with Jonson brought masque to its artistic peak, where there was this blending of innovative scenery and architectural elements with dramatic narrative. Notable works would include The Mask of Blackness, written by Jonson, showcasing Inigo Jones's skill in creating visually stunning theatrical experiences. Just one more thing I'd like to add. Shakespeare continued to write during this period as well, okay, although we have talked about him before. And now, finally, let's discuss the essayists, the prose writers of the Jacobean age. The most prominent figure in this category is Francis Bacon, known as the father of modern essays. See, he was also active during the Elizabethan age and during this age as well. On my website, you will find him under the Elizabethan age, which is also perfectly fine. And I purposely did not discuss him during the Elizabethan age because that video would have gotten too long. So I thought of including him here because he was active during this age also, right? Now, Bacon's major works include The Advancement of Learning, that was written for King James I, and Essays. It's a collection of 58 essays, and these essays were published in 3 editions, first in 1597, second in 1612, and third in 1625. Again, because Bacon is an important figure and these works that I mentioned here are also very important, you need to remember the dates as well for the exams, okay? Also remember that essays is a highly important work and a brilliant one at that. I mean, you need to study them to know why I say so. Very good, very good work. Another important work by Bacon is Instauratio Magna, a Latin work divided into 6 parts, which actually mirrors the God's creation of the world in 6 days. Again, this is a major work of Bacon, okay? To conclude, the Jacobean age was a dynamic period marked by these significant political, cultural developments. Despite the challenges and the conflicts, the era contributed greatly to the literary and cultural heritage of England. So, that wraps up our exploration of the Jacobean age. Again, like I say, there is so much more to this age. It's important for the exams as well. So, make sure that you do an in-depth study of this period as well. You can visit my website, theankitajain.com, to get free access to the complete list of writers that you need to prepare from this period if you're preparing on your own, or if you want everything at one place without having to refer to multiple sources. If you want my constant guidance and support and access to all the study material required for qualifying an exam like the UGC NET JRF, you can enroll in my online course where I discuss each aspect of this age in detail. So make sure you check out my course on my website, theankitajain.com. In case you have any queries, feel free to reach out to me on the given number. Also subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and do not forget to press the bell icon to be notified whenever I upload a new video. If you want to get in touch with me, do not forget to follow me on my social media, and if you want access to some free material, then download my app. You can also join my Telegram channel for some free PDFs. On that note, I'll take your leave and see you soon again in the next video. Till then, take care and thank you so much for watching.